Hey everyone, this is Chris and it's time to answer some of the top rules-related questions that have been asked in the comment section of my previous uploads. Now, a question's complexity can be a subjective thing, so these are laid out in a semi-random order. Make sure to watch till the end, cause there are some great scenarios ahead. Let's jump right into it. We kick off with a question by Albatross Pool. Both you and your opponent have 1 HP remaining on your bases, your leader is Sabine, and you decide to use her ability. Will this lead to a draw? Rule 714 states that if an ability that affects both players can be resolved simultaneously, resolve the ability simultaneously. So in our case, damage will be applied to both bases at the same time, which leads us to the application of Rule 563. In a case where both players' bases reach 0 remaining HP at the same time, the game ends in a draw. Now this brings us to a similar scenario, but with a completely different outcome. Harold asked, what happens if both bases have 3 HP left, your opponent controls Krayt Dragon, and you decide to play for a cause I believe in? Let's assume that there are at least 3 heroism cards on the top of your deck for this scenario. Do you win the game? Do you lose? Or is it a draw again? According to Rule 768, if an ability triggers during or as a result of a non-attack action, resolve that ability at the next available opportunity after that action is fully completed. Since For a Cause I Believe in is an event, it has to fully resolve before resolving the ability of Krayt Dragon, which means that you will damage your opponent's base first. Now, based on Rule 561, a game ends immediately once a player's base reaches 0 remaining HP and is defeated. A player whose base is defeated loses the game and their opponent wins the game. So in this scenario, there's no draw, but a clear winner. Moving on, Nebnesna, hope I got close to the right pronunciation there, described the following scenario. Your opponent has tech in play and you play Scanning Officer. Do you get to destroy any 3 of their resources? The answer here is quick. Yes, all your opponent's resources gain the smuggle keyword thanks to tech, so any 3 of them can be defeated by Scanning Officer. Now a follow-up question that comes to mind is, why would you care to defeat those resources since your opponent replaces them? Well, I see 2 main reasons. First, most players tend to resource their expensive cards early on. Defeating those resources makes sure they don't get to play them using Smuggle. Secondly, you can defeat their ready resources and have them replaced by exhausted ones according to Rule 177. If an ability instructs a player to put a card into play as a resource, the card is placed face down and exhausted in that player's resource zone unless otherwise specified. Next question comes from Ryan. Can Karabast, the event, not the game client, be played with no units on the board and deal 1 damage? The answer here is yes and no. Yes, there is nothing preventing you from playing Karabast without friendly units on the board. In fact, there is a rule about cases like this. An event ability must be resolved as completely as possible. Any part of the event ability that cannot be resolved is ignored. A player may play an event even if none of that event's ability can be resolved. Now about that no part, Karabast's ability requires you to have a friendly unit in play in order to deal the damage, so no damage will be dealt. Here's another one asked by Nebnesna. I promise I will get the name right at some point. Your opponent has Cad Bane as their leader and you control a lurking TIE Phantom and some other unit. Your opponent plays an Underworld card and uses Cad Bane's ability. Can you choose TIE Phantom as a target? If so, what happens to it? If we take a look at TIE Phantom's ability, we'll see that there's actually nothing preventing you from targeting it with an ability that deals damage, defeats or captures it. They just have no effect on it. So yes, you can pick TIE Phantom as a target of Cad Bane's ability, and no, it won't take any damage from it. The same applies to abilities of cards like Avenger or Power of the Dark Side, making TIE Phantom a great counter to them. TIE Phantom always gets a lot of love. Thor asked if Strike True can actually deal damage to the Phantom, since it would be the selected friendly unit that deals the damage. That's a tricky one, because TIE Phantom's ability wording leaves a bit of room for different interpretations, and that's probably why there's an official additional ruling on this. Lurking TIE Phantom can't be damaged directly by card abilities that deal damage, regardless of how those abilities deal the damage. Last but not least, here's a great scenario described by Gamer3171. You control Zakus. Your opponent controls Punishing One. You play Relentless Pursuit and capture Punishing One with Zakus. Zakus gets upgraded, and your opponent somehow defeats Zakus. Should Punishing One come in ready? Now, instead of giving up the answer, I would like to see what your thoughts are on this one in the comments. The answer is already in the comments of the previous upload. There should be a link to it on your screen now. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.